Spider-Man Brand New Day just released. It's the 4th movie in the Tom Holland saga, and from what I've seen, everyone is loving it. Fans have finally gotten to see how cool Spider-Man can be without the influence of John Watts. Seeing my GOAT finally represented in all of his glory is one of the few joys in life as a superhero fan. You know what this movie showed me? Being a superhero sucks. It's a thankless existence. In order to be the good you want to see in the world, to take responsibility for the power given to you, you have to sacrifice so much. Things that a common person may go through that makes life beautiful to live will never be in the cards for you. You'll never get a thank you. Only your persona will. You'll never get peace. Only the obligation to bring it to others. And you'll never get safety. Only the opportunity to bring it to others. Some days you'll want to stop, take a breather, even quit. But you'd never let yourself do that. You can't. Not when people need you. After every battle, every bit of loss, you have to put the mask back on. Not because you want to, but because after saving so many people and not being able to save enough, the mask is all you are. But that's not why I think being a superhero would suck. Mathematically speaking, being a superhero is the worst job in the world. When authors are making these heroes, their main goal was to tell a story. The characters and stakes presented require the readers to suspend their disbelief in order to get whatever message they need across. An easy avenue of doing that is by giving these people extraordinary powers and extraordinary responsibilities. And with so many iterations of the characters throughout the years, all being used as mediums to tell stories with different themes and messages, I'd say the authors have done a good job. Except for one thing. You can always tell a mathematician, physicist, or engineer was never in the room. Just a little pre-warning. I suck at math and physics, even though I love them. That probably means I'm not qualified to make this video, but how else am I gonna get better if I don't, right? So, if I get some of the proposed problems wrong, or I don't do them in the correct scope in relation to what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments, but please be as nice as possible for us. One of the biggest breakers of the laws of our universe is Spider-Man. You definitely know who he is. The red and blue suit with the webbing and the spider on the chest and back has been a staple of many childhoods for decades. He's transcended the paperbacks into the realm of being a worldwide icon. You can know absolutely nothing about comics, and you'd know who Spider-Man is. Climbing on walls, funny quips, amazing saves while being in tune in his neighborhood enough to be described as a friendly neighborhood hero. The most iconic part of his kit is his swinging, whipping across skyscrapers at speeds of 100 to 150 miles per hour. His web swinging has allowed him to stop some really bad guys and pull off some impressive rescues. And a big part of his job is transporting people from dangerous locations into safer ones. Except the mode of transportation isn't safe at all. The way his swinging works is that he's essentially a pendulum. If we assume that he's following an arc with every swing maneuvering around the city and not doing those quick repositioning flips he tends to do in order to gain speed or change directions, we'd have to use the equation for centripetal acceleration, velocity squared divided by the radius of the arc. Let's give him an estimated speed of 100 to 150 miles an hour. I came up with this number because Google's AI assumes he swings about 60 to 80 miles an hour with an average web length of 60 feet. But both the speed and the web length felt a little conservative, so I increased both, bumping him up to the 100 to 150 miles an hour and the web length up to 50 meters, which is about 165 feet. Here's my favorite part of math, plug and play. Here's how I found it. Velocity is measured in meters per second. When we convert 100 miles per hour to meters per second by multiplying it by 0.447, we get 44.7 meters per second. We square it, which gives us 1998, and divide it by the radius, the line length of 50 meters, which gives us 39.96 meters per second squared. We convert it to G's by dividing it by 9.81, right? And we get 4.07 G's. After we add back gravity, we get around 5.07 G's. That's his minimum speed of 100 miles per hour. The equation remains exactly the same if we do 150 miles per hour, which gives us around 10.16 G's in total. He'd be experiencing 5 to 10 G's of force, which might not seem too crazy until we look at fighter pilots. The best of the best can handle 9 G's with special conditions with pressurized suits. The average person can only handle 4 to 6 G's before passing out completely, meaning that if Spider-Man's genes didn't help him out, which is an assumption, every time he'd swing, he'd pass out and fall to his death. But that's not the only part where he'd die. In most popular renditions of Spider-Man in the comics, his web fluid is synthetic, but natural spider silk gives us real tensile strength to work with. According to Google's AI, it's 1.3 gigapascals. When Peter swings, the web needs to hold his 167-pound frame and absorb the kinetic energy energy of a full swing at full speed. Here's the math. The equation we're going to use is the standard for finding force, with one slight change. Using the centripetal acceleration formula from the previous problem, we'll plug that in for acceleration. Peter's mass is 76 kilograms, and his fastest speed is 150 miles per hour. We'll round up and say that his centripetal acceleration is 90 meters per second squared. Since the web is holding Peter up against gravity at the bottom of his swing, we're going to add gravity into the mix too. So the math is 76 times 99.81, which would give us 7,585 newtons of force. And when translated into pounds, that's approximately 1,706. That's insane, but that's not even the craziest part. The glass that his web attaches to has the tensile strength of roughly 7 to 28 megapascals, nowhere near enough to absorb 1,706 pounds of sudden force. It would shatter on every swing, costing thousands more and properly damaged than it already does. But even if the glass held, even if Peter's body could handle the G-forces, he'd still be grounded before the day was over. His web fluid is synthetic, which means he makes it himself and stores it in those little cartridges on his wrist. In the MCU, they look like the size of a thumb drive. Small. Let's be generous and say that each one of them holds about 10 milliliters of fluid. From my assumptions, he's carrying around 4 of them, I think. So that's 40 milliliters total. Now let's figure out how much a single swing cost him. We've already established that the web needs to hold over 7,500 newtons of force. For a thread to do that using spider silk's tensile strength of 1.3 gigapascals, you'd need a cross-sectional area of about 5.8 square millimeters, roughly a thread 2.7 millimeters thick. Not crazy. About the diameter of a pencil lead. A 50-meter web at that thickness has a volume of about 290 milliliters. He has 40. He needs 290. He runs out before completing his first swing. Now, I will admit this is based on me assuming that the prior length of 60 feet is too little to operate as Spider-Man. Maybe if we shrink it down by that much, it becomes a lot more manageable to only have 4 cartridges. But I'm not gonna do the math on that because I'll probably get it wrong. Even if the web is half as thick, even if we cut every number in his favor, he's empty by swing 4, honestly. Every high-speed chase scene in a Spider-Man movie ends the same way mathematically. Peter Parker, stranded on the rooftop, out of fluid, watching the villain walk away. His webbing and the amount of force necessary to use it is exactly why Gwen died. The Amazing Spider-Man 121 is one of the most iconic comics of all time. It's where Green Goblin establishes himself as Spider-Man's all-time foil by throwing his love interest, Gwen Stacy, off of George Washington Bridge.
Despite Spider-Man's frantic efforts to save her, that nasty Green Goblin does the unthinkable. He tosses poor Gwen right off the George Washington Bridge.
He catches her before she hits the water. She dies anyways. It's one of the saddest moments in all of comics. Here's the math behind it. George Washington Bridge is approximately 600 feet above water. That's more than enough time for a human being to reach terminal velocity of 120 miles per hour because she was falling flatly. When the web catches her and snaps, it decelerates her from 120 miles per hour to 0 in a fraction of a second. To find out how she was falling, we need to find her velocity. Finding velocity squared would require multiplying 2 gravity and the distance fallen. When you plug in the relevant numbers, 9.81 meters per second squared for gravity is A, 183 meters as S, and multiply it by 2, you get 3,590. In order to remove the V squared, we have to square the result, and that gives us 59.9 meters per second squared. That's roughly 135 miles per hour, since we're ignoring air resistance. When we plug in the standard force equation, after dividing it by 0.01 to accommodate for deceleration at 0.1 seconds, and we take into account her mass of 55 kilograms, we're left with 32,945 newtons of force, or 7,409. The web killed her faster than the water could have. It was one of the rare times that math seemed to be involved in writing because they added the snap sound effect at the moment the web caught her. The jolt of experiencing the equivalent of a terrible car crash killed Gwen. After doing all the math that I probably got wrong today, it made me realize why there's no math involved in these stories. The math doesn't care that he's the good guy. It never does. Spider-Man Brand New Day is incredible. Go watch it. Just know that with every single swing that you see on screen, Peter Parker is probably backing out, shattering windows, and burning through his supply of foreshot. The math doesn't make it any less cool. It actually makes it more impressive that he keeps going. Originally, I wanted to do Spider-Man, Superman, and The Flash, and a bunch of other superheroes all in one video, but I'm not gonna do that because I want more content. So I've split them up. The next video after this one, probably Superman, and I think it's gonna get a lot worse. All right, have a good one. Like, subscribe, fact check me on my math. See you again sometime soon.